Hello, everybody. How we help families overcome poo smearing in our program. And I'm sure that this is a topic that nobody really expects when they start their autism journey. It is an area of discomfort, shame, and feeling like we're failing or something is going wrong. And then being told that this is just part of your child's autism symptoms. And this is not true. So let's dive into a couple of things. First of all, hi, I'm Natalie Pelto. I am the co-founder of Blue Life RX and the creator of the Blue Life Autism Program. And I am a multi-certified clinical nutritionist with a specialty in brain development, advanced gut restoration, and of course, detox and nutritional therapy. So having all of this, and of course, my past was in healthcare. So in diagnostics, no less. So the human body is something I'm extremely comfortable with. I have over 21 years of experience of seeing inside of it, seeing the conditions that come from our current day-to-day Western living, as we will call it, modern living. And it has been so inspiring for us to change everything. When I had a child with severe nonverbal autism who was struggling and eating just three foods, very, very picky. We led a very high toxic life and just Western living, right? So today I'm going to be sharing about how to understand poo smearing a little bit more, or fecal smearing, as some professionals would call it. But I'm here to bridge the gap between language of professionals and also support families who are just new to their diagnosis and are not understanding what's going on. So this is in a story mode. My son going through his diagnosis, this was an area that we were very privileged to not have happen, but I do know the reality of this, having worked with hundreds and hundreds of families, and how devastating it is, and how time consuming it is, and how shameful in some ways it is. And not that there's any shame that we should or that we need to feel around it, but it is just so in some ways embarrassing for these things to happen. And I want to tell you that it is not just because of your child's condition. They are not trying to misbehave. Of course, this is not necessarily a behavior that needs to be redirected, although I am going to give you some tips on that. And it is definitely not a joke, but it's considered in our world a full-blown crisis that leaves us scrubbing walls, right? We know this, that our families are scrubbing walls sometimes at midnight, sometimes first thing in the morning, every single day, hiding towels and wondering, hey, how did I get here? How did this become my life? No person in their right mind wakes up one day, or in their dreams, in their younger self says, one day I am going to be a mom to a child who takes their fecal matter and puts it all over the wall. So I completely understand the devastation behind it. So let's talk about what are the things that people are currently, or professionals are currently talking about, from therapists to physicians. The big thing is that it's just a sensory processing issue. It is a sensory seeking behavior, and that we need more therapy, we need more redirection, and we need images, behavior charts, visual cues. And although these are helpful, please do not think that I don't think that some of those are helpful. In many cases, when families actually find us, they have actually tried all of this with no success. So having no success is really feeling like this is your life now, and really feeling like your home is literally going to have Glade or Sensi plugins in every single room for the rest of your life. And I want to tell you that this doesn't have to be the case. This is what I finally learned as I was starting to navigate, and I had created this program and families started to come in to this program, was that poo smearing is not just behavioral at all. If anything, it is completely biological, and there are many root causes. So here are a couple of them to help you have some inspiration and have some feel-good moments of that this is not something that has to be the rest of your life. So first, when the gut is inflamed, when the child is constipated, when they're deregulated, or they're in big situations, like we know that I'll give you an example, and this might be you, is that when your child, for example, goes to, let's just say they're in kindergarten and they're at the end of the year kindergarten party and they're so overstimulated and there's candy everywhere, and then they go home and they all of a sudden take their diaper off, or they're just, they start this very sensory seeking activity. we know that it can be from a deregulated nervous system. And so, of course, the last thing that we do know for sure is that they are nutritionally starved. So smearing is the body's way for your child to scream out, I need help, or help me, please. Once I realized in our program that these families and that these behaviors were so connected to some of these root causes, then it became just so easy to start to educate more so and bring resources in for this specific issue. So the first one I'll share is that you can't out therapy a starving brain, and that's when everything changes, truthfully, is when you stop trying to focus on fixing your child, when you stop trying to fix a behavior, and when you start to focus on feeding the body, nourishing the body, giving it what it needs, helping your child regulate, this is when these symptoms naturally go away. And that's what we do inside the Blue Life Autism Program. If you want to know more about that, it is in the description. There is an entire really highly educational 2-hour video on what we do in that program. And the thing is that it doesn't come with throwing the kitchen sink at autism. Okay, it doesn't need $500 or $5,000 worth of testing to tell you that if your child is poo smearing, they likely have physical and biological markers that are going to show you this. We really just know that from clinical trial and error. And we start with the lowest hanging fruit, which is, of course, food. Unlike what other families or other professionals will tell you, in a world where everything we do is prescribe medication, the truth is that it starts with nourishment. It starts with giving the body what it needs, and supplements don't have fibers. Supplements don't feed the gut microbiota. So please understand that you want to start with the lowest hanging fruit, which everyone needs to eat. It's like, this is the thing that is going to cause you the least amount of work, because everyone needs to eat, and it takes just as much effort to provide your child or to figure out how to give your child a supplement and hide it as it does to help your child overcome, let's just say if they have picky or sensory eating, it is the same amount of energy. So always remember that where your attention goes, your energy flows. And so if you're focusing on a supplement only approach, you are missing the bigger picture of what is actually going to help your child with the long-term benefits. Okay. And so the truth is that this is, I've seen children in this case go from silence to speech, right? Just by helping them overcome constipation. And then the side benefit of this, like most people come into our program looking for their children to speak. And I always tell them it's all the side benefits that you're really going to appreciate. And so I see children go from no words to speech. I see families go from walls that are covered in poo, and then of course their cribs that are covered in poo, and that's much harder to clean, by the way. And then to clean hands and like pure smiles, and that's what I want for you. And of course, from overwhelm to independence. And I've seen moms like you go from shame and tears to strength, strategy, and support, and that is life-changing. So if this hits home, I want you to not wait. I want you to dive into the Blue Life Autism Program. You now know foundationally what are the physiological causes of poo smearing versus just a behavioral approach, which makes you very disempowered, by the way. When you feel that this is part of a condition that you have no say in, you do lose the sense of empowerment, of being the healer of the home, of being able to help your child. And it is not by always bringing them to an appointment and handing them over to somebody else that's actually going to give you the biggest results. And I hope that statement alone will give you back hope and power, is that it is within the kitchen of your own home that you are going to see the biggest changes and the miracle, or what you would believe at first is a miracle, but is actually very intentional and repeatable, for your child to thrive. And so that we can gain and get all of their gifts. So for how we look at it at Blue Life RX, we are an entire team that is behind this program. And we look at it as our mission is to help your child get to independence, to living the life of their dreams, so that as humanity and as communities, we can benefit from the gifts that we know that they hold. I look at my son every single day. I know that there are so many other children exactly like him that are currently stuck in a world where they cannot share their gifts. So I hope that this video has inspired you. If it has, make sure to subscribe. If you know another mom with a child with severe, profound autism that is struggling, has become, a prisoner to their own home, please share this with them so that we can help them, again, get their children to the independence and thriving that we know that they can get to.